Good evening, everyone. This is Tuesday evening on the 31st of October, 2023. I was counting and we have about some 50 something days left for Christmas. I welcome you all this evening to the Temple of Light, another spiritual mind healing service. I'm Carol Charlton, the practitioner who will lead you this evening. And so now, as we do in everything that we do, we begin with God. And we recognize together that one power, one presence we call God, that which in which we live and move and have our being. It is that which has called us together this evening to partake of itself, to share with each other, to learn, to grow. And so we open our minds, we open our consciousness to listen, to participate, to grow. And we know that we move onward and upward on this ever ascending path of truth, and that our lives will never be the same because more and more of God continues to express itself in, through, and as us. And so I release this word lovingly, knowing that it is fulfilled as our experience this evening. And I give thanks now that all this is so, and so it wonderfully is. Welcome again if you're just joining us. And let me just invite you now to close your eyes and take 3 deep centering breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And out. And so let's just set aside today's concerns and the various issues in the external environment which are bombarding us and focus our attention, our awareness within. As you breathe again, follow your breath down to your heart space. Allow each inhale to expand your sense of love and peace in the center of your being. Let each exhale take away the tensions, the distractions of things beyond your control and imagination. And so for the next 3 minutes, infuse your thoughts with the thought centered in peace. I'm renewed in body, mind, and spirit. Centered in peace. I'm renewed in body, mind, and spirit. And now I invite you to return to the present space quietly. So let me thank you all, everyone who has chosen to be with me this evening. I am honored that you have taken the time from whatever it is that you have to do to be here. And so now let me share with you this evening my thoughts. You've noticed that it's Traveling Light. That's my title. And you'll hear how I got here. Now, when I was in active employment, I did a fair amount of overseas travel. And in those days, I took it in my strides. And now looking back, I'm not really aware of any undue anxiety then. But in recent times, I've not been traveling as much as I did then. And I've been hearing people talking about the hassles of travel, how much they dislike the airports. And it's apparent that I absorbed a lot of that talk in my head without even realizing it. You know, when you don't stand guard at the portals of your mind, you're likely to absorb other people's stuff. And as we learned in Science of Mind 101, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. It's actually from Proverbs. So I made a short trip at the end of August into early September. And I began then to be present to a kind of anxiety about going through airports and about security checks, about excess baggage, particularly about long lines and the plethora of situations which occur in airports, bearing in mind that that was part of my work environment, actually. So I got ready I came back after that first 10 days, and 2 weeks later, I was off again for a month-long stay in Canada to visit with friends who have been at me to come over and visit with them. And typically for this kind of trip, I take two bags, one with my personal stuff and another filled with the stuff that, with all the requests for Jamaican stuff to satisfy the palates of my friends in the diaspora. And of course, that second piece would take home the fruits of my shopping expedition, my gifts, and so forth. And as I planned for the trip, I became aware of anxiety about weight and intransigent customer service officers and public images of repacking and other uncomfortable scenarios. So on the appointed day, armed with my two bags, I present myself at the airport, at the Air Canada list, only to learn that Air Canada, for a few months up till some date in December, was only allowing one piece of luggage. Embarrassment. I managed to deal with that and compressed all my stuff into one bag. But my next challenge is to return. Where am I going to take whatever I got? So I found myself mentally burdened by these fears. And I've even laying awake considering how to comply with the stringencies of the baggage requirements. So I even restricted my shopping. And one day I got a call from a temple member who didn't even know I was out of the country. I didn't, and in sharing, I indicated that I had a personal issue. I didn't tell her any details. And when I tell you her response, you'll know exactly who it is. She says, divine order, my dear. Just affirm divine order. And then I got another call from practitioner Sandra, who I asked for an affirmative prayer of right action. Again, not outlining any difficulties or concerns. And these assurances of right, perfect action settled that. Sure enough, I became lighter, and my friend and I found a way out of the packaging solution. And on the morning of my return date, I went to the airport. Now, the other part of it is that they've been encouraging me to use the wheelchair option for mature travelers. And I did. And guess what? They didn't weigh my luggage. Relief. Flight takes off. And I'm settled in my seat, heading for home. And the thought came to me, travel light, traveling light. And I thought about it and I said, you know something? That's going to be my next talk in a week's time. So here I am. You know, there are so many areas on our journey where we can release unnecessary stuff and pursue the path of light, where we can release, let go, and let God, as we are often encouraged. At our recent weekend masterclass, breathing was the recurring theme to galvanize our attention to the truth of being, so that no matter what was taking place in our immediate environment, Dr. Dennis would say, God is, and we breathe and exhaled, I am. God is, I am. God is, I am. So conscious breathing allows us to place attention and indeed intention on the source, God, and allows us to focus our energy and step away from onerous concerns of our day-to-day life and to relax and recognize our oneness with the One. It brings the clarity and light we need to travel light. So wherever you are now, let's say with me, I breathe and feel my oneness with God and with life. I travel light. I breathe and feel my oneness with God and life. I travel light. We often burden ourselves with thoughts about the past. We spend a great deal of mental time choreographing and rehearsing mistakes and hurts and troubles about situations, events, and people in our past. We share them, we replay them, we wallow in them, and we trade them with others to brag on the gory details of who did what, when, and how, and what our part in it. And we drag along that proudly, that accumulation of our story and other people's stories. But of course, you know, none of us here would consciously engage in such activities because we have been learning that dwelling on unpleasant memories simply paves the way for repeat versions of the same experience. Withholding forgiveness and hanging on to the negative trophies involves continuous attachment to the problem and creates a dark space, prevents us from traveling light or traveling in the light. So we choose to travel light, to unburden our mental household and embrace the release that forgiveness brings to our spiritual practice. May I invite you to affirm, I forgive myself and others for any past or imagined hurts. I travel lightly in the light. I forgive myself and others for any past or imagined hurts. I travel lightly in the light. And, whenever I am going to do a talk, I sit down and I do an affirmative prayer seeking guidance. And I did that this time. And I reached into my little box in which I have some old Science of Mind magazines. And I came up with one for July 2012 and found a daily guide authored by Reverend Kathy Julien, titled Travel Light. And she suggests that whether or not you believe that painful events occur in your life in order to teach you a lesson, consider allowing those experiences to point you toward the light of your true self. Forgive the painful experience by letting it lead you to an awareness of your unity with the eternal light of your true self. And I'll read for you the affirmation that she placed at the end, the one at the foot of the daily guide. I choose to travel light in my life, taking from the past nothing but the enlightenment I gain from it. I choose to travel light in my life, taking from the past nothing but the enlightenment I gain from it. By now, you would have picked up that there is actually a play on light. Light as in being free, liberated and unburdened. And light as the attribute of spirit, light of understanding or divine guidance, clarity of thought. And as we embrace the light of spirit, we are guided into right action because we unburden ourselves of the anxiety and concern which human situations throw at us. This light illumines our choices and brings together all the elements which are necessary for the perfect outcome. And let's hear, I found this in the Science of Mind textbook on page 502, and I'm going to quote it for you. It is scientific for one to consciously let go of his troubles and errors, feeling that they no longer affect him. But he has learned the lesson that false ideas do not pay and is willing and glad to turn from all that hurts to the great light. And the spirit, because of its nature of wholeness, is ever ready to take him in its embrace and making him whole again, end quote. Now, unforgiveness may not be the burden you're carrying around. It could be about self-esteem, and long-held beliefs about your worthiness or your abilities or your own self-perception of resulting from our upbringing and all the circumstances which have molded us into the perception of ourselves that we hold at this time. Yes, there is a condition known as not good enoughness, which can also be another besetting factor. It's engendered by our evaluation of ourselves, offers a perception of how we think we are being viewed by others. And there's another side where our own judgment and opinion of others often dim our eyes to the light that they are, becoming another weight to contend with. We travel light as we walk in the light when we open our eyes to love, to recognize our spiritual worth, and that we are each a presence of spirit on this plane, that we are in control of our thoughts and can change the effects and conditions by the simple act of choosing to release that thought, that judgment, put down that weight, and enjoy the freedom of taking flight unencumbered to that place at the center of our beings where peace and love and joy abide, along with light and love. And so we let go of negative, fearful thoughts and refocus on the indwelling God, not only in ourselves, but in every other self. We shift from stress and anxiety, criticism and judgment into the spirit of peace. We see beyond the outer circumstances the truth of the prosperity which is ours by right of being. We live in faith and trust. We open ourselves to the presence of God as we honor the Spirit indwelling each and every person. We love unconditionally. We give generously. We practice prayer and meditation. We practice mindfulness, and we adopt that attitude of gratitude. We discover our purpose, and we pursue it with passion. Truly, there's really no need to navigate this experience burdened by the weight of negative thinking or blinded by beliefs of being less than. We are empowered to choose to walk in the light, to travel light. So I invite each of you listening to consider whether there's any old baggage you've been dragging around. Cast it off and be the light that you are. Travel light, my friend. Namaste. Thank you for listening.
Really good message, Carol.
Thank you, Sandy. Coming from you, I really am. That is a treasure for me.
It's a good metaphor.
Indeed.
Well-worked metaphor, because we've just come back from traveling, all of us. And what did we carry with us on the trip? How did we wear what we carried? Meaning, how did we manifest it in how the time unfolded? How heavy or light were we in stuff that happened?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, very good metaphor.
And then I was considering while I was putting it together, but I didn't necessarily. I thought I'd leave it for this part of the discussion. The whole business of clutter. For years, my son has been pleading with me. You feel lighter, Mom, if you remove these little papers, this stuff you have here and this stuff you have here. And it's really burdensome. I've started to take things out of when I got back on Sunday, I went into the back of my closet and I started to take out things. There's lots more to take out. And so that's another exercise in learning how to travel light, because here and hereafter, I should have really just what I need and not all the unnecessary accumulation of all the things that people have given me over the years. Lord, Auntie this gave me that, or this friend gave me that. Hanging on. Mm-hmm. And just allowing me to trust. I really need to travel, really want to travel. Sure.
About how men travel versus how we travel.
Oh, that's it. They will take one paper bag and it has everything. No, I mean, that is putting it, really trivializing it. But they don't need anything. We travel with two sets of two changes for the same event. And we multiply that by 3 for how many days?
Can we talk a little bit about the fact that some of us are comfortable with some of the baggage that we carry? And we're talking now about metaphorically.
Oh, yes. You know, you can, in fact, settle down and into this stuff. And you massage your ego with some of the justification for still holding on to this thing. But as our Reverend of Blessed Memory used to say, dear, do you want to be healed or do you want to be justified? Do you want to be justified or do you want to be healed? It's a matter of choice. We can bury ourselves in all that stuff and it makes us feel good. But at the end of the day, we're not moving forward. And that's really what we want to do.
Indeed.
We want to be on the move. We want to be stripping off more of the onion. We want to be demonstrating more of who we are. We want to pursue our passion and we want to be able to give to our community and to just spread the light. We want to be the light. And the only way we are going to get there is to move out of that comfort zone. Recognize that it is not necessarily propelling us forward. It's really holding us down. We're not necessarily dragging it around with us, but it's burdening us. So that's another aspect of how we can lighten ourselves. Well, I like that light as in the adjective free, liberated, and the light, and light as in that glow of understanding and clarity are both the same words in English. And I really never thought about looking in some other, in French or Spanish, to see whether there is any distinction. But for us as speakers of English, it is significant that the both metaphoric uses really advance us in the direction of light. Yeah.
Reverend, let's just look at the messages. Reverend Michael says, lovely talk. I agree we should travel light without baggage weighing us down because we love things. And then Carol, very appropriate, Carol, release the baggage, let go of the burdens if you want to travel at all.
Yeah.
Michelle says, well, Lou says really la luz is light in Spanish.
Right. There's in French, it's lumière. Light. There's lumière and what would be light, and one would be libre, light, free. Anyway, one of these days we can do some language studies around it. Anyway, so much for the important thing is that we take with us the thought that we can travel light, we can travel without burden, we can bear the light of truth as a glow that goes before us wherever we choose to, wherever we are, because it also brings enlightenment to those with whom we come in contact.
Okay.
You know, light and easy is nice and easy does it. I kept singing, you know that little song, nice and easy does it, right?
So yeah, you catch it.
Yeah,
easy does.
I kept on singing light and easy does it while I was writing. And then I realized that it wasn't really the light and easy. It was nice and easy. Anyway,
We have a comment here on YouTube from Sheena. She said,
yes,
I can say for sure meditation has allowed me to travel light. My nervous system has been letting go of so many hurts from my childhood days and even my daily experiences. So that's Sheena who is on YouTube.
oh, thank you, Sheena, for bringing that light to this moment, for enlightening this moment. And we do well to listen to her advice and about meditation, and we can put prayer along with it and mindfulness
Okay.
as avenues through which we focus on being lighter and light filled.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Treatment now.
Yes. What do we have?
Any requests in the chat? At least on this end.
Okay. Let me do an affirmative prayer of light. God is light. That light surrounds us. That light infuses our being. That light is that which allows us to express its attributes. That light is that which brings joy and love and peace into our experience. That light is a clarity which allows us to discern, to know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. It is that light which orchestrates in perfect synchronicity, perfect outcomes, and right perfect activity. It is that light which pulsates in our bodies as health, from the crown of our heads to the sole of our feet. Every nerve, molecule, atom, cell sizzles with that light that is God. That light is that which enables us to go to throw clarity into difficult situations. That light is that which enables us to guide and to see above and beyond appearance. We are grateful for light. We are grateful that that light is that which enables us to journey along this path with that light, fantastic air, knowing that we are emissaries of light. We are God's messengers of light. We are each a temple of light. I give thanks now that our light glows and glows brightly in our community, in our island, and across the cosmos. We give thanks now that all this is so, and so it is.
But very, very quickly, Carol, you know that in Spanish to give birth is dar la luz, to give the light.
Oh my God. So we are giving, light allows us to give birth to wonderful, fresh ideas, to bring, usher new life into our world, into the situations that we come across. That's wonderful to know. We give dar la luz.
Reverend Michelle is asking an affirmative prayer for her upcoming move, that it goes smoothly, effortlessly, and swiftly.
Okay. As we recognize the one power and the one presence that is God, that presence of right order, that presence of light. I speak this word as Reverend Michelle relocates, and knowing that this, this exercise takes place in an atmosphere of order, that everything that needs to, every element that is required for the perfect movement from one location to the other falls easily into place. No hiccups, no obstacles, just God moving as God from one place to the next to express itself in glorious ways. I know that she's welcomed in her new neighborhood. She's received with approval. She settles well because this is the place that calls to her, that is welcoming her, that is the right, perfect solution for her at this time. And I'd really give thanks that there are no obstacles. There's only a perfect flow from start to finish, and that God fulfills itself in many ways in this activity, ways that we hadn't even imagined. Everything is perfectly coordinated, orchestrated, and executed. And we give thanks that this is so, for so it wonderfully is a perfect move.
Amen.
Hey.
Mhm. Don't see anything else here. Mhm.
There are no requests online at this time.
All right. So perhaps we could move into the other aspects of our session. And so we can now, it's a prayer of Jamaica, right?
Can you just do
Sorry,
peace?
sorry.
Sorry, Carol, just general peace for the world.
God is peace. That peace surrounds us. That peace indwells us. That peace is at the center of our beings. We breathe peace. In every nook and cranny of this planet. We allow that dove of peace to settle in every place, to calm every troubled breast, and to realize the love of God, which settles at the center of each sentient being. That peace is in the hearts of our leaders. That peace is in the hearts of those, even those who are in contention. That peace emerges in spite of the appearances, in spite of the conflicts, in spite of the difficulties. For God must be God, and God is peace. And that peace is stealing across our globe, in every city, in every town, in every country, in every district, in every area. Peace, perfect peace. Peace as light, peace as understanding, peace as a settlement of conflict. And so we give God thanks in this moment. And allow peace to be the order of our hearts, of our way. And I release this word and accept peace as its perfect outcome now. For so it is. Give thanks now that peace is. And so it wonderfully is. Perfect. Yeah, shall we
Yes, I'm trying to share, but I'm unable. I don't have the rights to share the presentation to assist you along.
okay.
Yes.
But you have them in front of you?
I do have the slide, but I'm
So
unable to
why
share.
don't you no, well you go ahead and do the sharing.
But she has to be
Someone
given
needs to
permission.
make
I have
sure
to be
the
given
host.
permission. I haven't been able to. Okay, now I've been given permission to share.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead.
We're setting it up.
Okay, so now I'm seeing it. So we have quiet moments in the garden tomorrow morning, as we have every Wednesday morning and Monday and Friday morning with Reverend John, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock a.m., please. And then at midday, Noon Bites with Reverend Ann on YouTube Live. Join her at noon. And tomorrow evening, no, not tomorrow, Thursday evening at 6, there's prayer power. Come and be lifted up by the transformative power of God's love, light, peace, and joy. If you've not ever joined prayer power, do that this week, please. You will be blessed. And then on Thursday, from, is it 11:30 till 1:30?
Correct.
Reverend Michelle, you were born rich. This is the 5th of the 10 sessions, is it?
1, 2. This is the 4th. This is the 4th.
The 4th. Oh, well, I would have loved to have been there from day one. I trust that I will. I am setting my intention to be there on this Thursday.
Just make sure you read chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I'll send you the material, Carol.
Okay, thanks. And then what next? And then On Thursday evening, we have another class, Ignite Your Life with Bible Wisdom. Is that, I'm not reading it well, but that's between 7 and 9. On, what is it? On Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The writing is very minuscule, so I'm not really reading it very well. Next. And so now, this Sunday, join us at 9 a.m. for our Sunday morning celebration when our minister, Reverend Michelle, will be the speaker. And I have a feeling that I am going to be the assistant. I thought I saw it, unless there's a change. Please be there. And then be back here next Tuesday evening at 6 for another spiritual mind healing service led by another practitioner. I should be telling you the name, but I'm not sure who it is. But you'll be blessed. You just please be there. Okay.
Can you excuse me a minute, Carl? We have Labyrinth Walk tomorrow. If there's no rain.
Oh, it's the first. Yes, because it's the first
Wednesday in the month. We still have it. We still have it.
Okay. Walking the Labyrinth for Peace. It begins at 5.
Begins at 5:30.
It's 5:30?
Usually 5:30. I don't know.
5:30. Please join those of us who walk the Labyrinth on a first Wednesday.
Carl Livingston and others.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you feel moved to support our ministry, there's the opportunity to do so by donating at donate.templeoflightcsl.org. And we are really always grateful for your generosity and for helping us to continue our work as a beacon of light for this world. Bless you, wonderful givers. And now, the love offering blessing, you may wish kindly repeat with, lovingly I give,
Joyfully I receive.
joyfully I receive. Be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper and enrich everyone you touch. And all of my financial affairs. Thank you, Father. And so it is. Do we say the prayer of our center now? The Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living, is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community from which Christ's peace, love, and joy emanate to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and glory forever. And so it is. And we pray now for our country, Jamaica, knowing that the radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island, Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established, and so it is. And let me know. We give thanks for this moment. We give thanks for the consciousness that brought us to this place. We give thanks for the light of God within us, which gives us the clarity and the wisdom to navigate this journey on this plane at this time. And we know that as we move on to our respective destinations, we move lightly. We move as light bearers, taking that light of truth with us wherever we go and contributing to the peace and love and well-being of all with whom we come in contact. I release this word. I release this word and accept its fulfillment as the experience of each of us now. And joyously now, I acknowledge that this is so.
And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you all for being. It's good to have shared time with you this evening.
Right. The talk was quite appropriate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of thing I can tell you, I did agonize a bit about luggage and stuff, but I will share